Every great success story begins with someone who saw something no one else could see. While others were busy laughing, criticizing, or doubting, that person was busy building. People often label what they don't understand as crazy, and the truth is, when you dare to dream beyond the ordinary, you will always appear crazy to the ordinary mind. The path to wealth, success, and freedom begins the moment you stop explaining your vision to those who refuse to understand it. The vision only you can see. That's where it starts. Every breakthrough begins as an invisible idea. The Wright brothers saw flight when the world said man is not meant to fly. Edison saw light when everyone else saw darkness. The person who changes their world begins with a picture in their mind so clear, so real, that it pulls them forward. Others can't see it because it's not their vision. It's yours. And that's the beauty of it. The world only believes in results, not dreams. But dreams are the blueprint. They're the foundation upon which every fortune is built. The courage to walk alone is the second key. Most people never reach greatness because they can't bear the loneliness of being misunderstood. They crave approval, applause, and validation. But the truth is, every extraordinary journey begins in silence, when you walk alone, guided only by your belief in something more. The crowd will mock you, whisper behind your back, call you foolish for trying what they were too afraid to attempt. But remember this, being misunderstood is the tax you pay for greatness. The price of belief comes next. Belief is expensive. It demands effort, faith, and persistence long after the world stops clapping. When you believe in your goal, you must back it with relentless work. Every hour spent learning, failing, adjusting, and trying again is a deposit into your dream. And though the returns come slowly, they come surely. Most people quit because they want results before they've paid the price. But success doesn't work on credit. It demands full payment in advance. The power of relentless consistency is what separates dreamers from achievers. Anyone can be motivated for a week, but few can stay disciplined for years. Wealth in any form, financial, spiritual, or emotional, is built on the quiet repetition of small actions done daily. While others seek shortcuts, the wise know that mastery is the long road. The world may not see your effort now, but time has a way of rewarding the consistent. Those who show up every day eventually become unstoppable. Turning doubt into fuel is the secret ingredient of all who rise. You can't, can become the fire that drives you to prove that you can. The laughter of doubters can echo in your mind, not to discourage you, but to remind you of why you started. The people who once called you crazy will one day ask how you did it. They'll say you were lucky, but luck is what happens when patience meets preparation. The mockery that once stung becomes music to your ears because it reminds you that you are no longer one of them. And finally, success makes the impossible obvious. Once you've built it, once you've made it, those same voices that called you insane will call you a genius. They'll rewrite the story to make it sound like they always believed in you. That's the irony of success. It transforms perception. What was once crazy becomes visionary. What was once impossible becomes inevitable. But you'll know the truth, that it was never madness, only courage. They'll call you crazy until you get rich. But by then, you won't need their approval. You'll have something far greater, the quiet satisfaction of knowing you believed when no one else did, and you proved that the impossible was simply the untrade. Every dream begins as a vision that only one pair of eyes can see. It's not visible to the world yet because it exists in the unseen world of thought and imagination. The vision that stirs in your mind is often dismissed by others because it doesn't fit into their experience or belief system. They can't see it because it isn't meant for them. It's meant for you. Every inventor, every artist, every self-made success began with a picture so vivid and alive within them that they could almost touch it. They lived in it mentally long before it became real physically. The ability to see what isn't yet visible is what separates creators from spectators, leaders from followers, and achievers from dreamers who never act. When you carry a vision that is yours alone, you'll quickly notice how people react. Some will doubt you. Others will laugh. Some will even pity you for believing in something so unrealistic. But that's the nature of vision. It requires a kind of faith that most people don't practice. They live according to what they can see, while you are called to live according to what you can imagine. The world is filled with people who wait for proof before they believe, yet every person who ever changed the world had to believe before there was proof. The unseen world of ideas is the birthplace of everything we now call real. Every building, every bridge, every innovation began in a human mind that refused to let go of a picture no one else could understand. The mind has a strange power. It begins to move toward whatever picture dominates it. If your mind is filled with fear and limitation, your life will reflect that. But if it's filled with purpose, creativity, and the image of what could be, then that image will pull you forward with an invisible force. The vision acts like a magnet, drawing opportunities, ideas, and people that align with what you're holding inside. It doesn't matter how long it takes, because the moment you see it clearly enough, you start to move toward it. And that's when the world begins to rearrange itself to match your internal picture. The great secret of those who achieve the impossible is that they live from their vision, not from their circumstances. They let their imagination set the boundaries of what's possible, not the opinions of others. There will always be a moment when your vision is tested. It's easy to believe when things are going well, when the sun is shining, when you have support. But the true test of belief comes when there's no visible evidence, when doubt creeps in, when you start questioning if it will ever happen. That's when most people abandon their dreams, not because they're impossible, but because they couldn't hold on to the picture long enough for it to manifest. The vision doesn't fail, the believer does. But if you can hold the image steady in your mind through all seasons, when no one believes in you, when you face setbacks, when it seems foolish to keep going, you will discover something powerful. You will see that reality bends to the will of one who refuses to let go. Those who succeed in life are those who trust their inner vision more than external noise. They spend less time trying to convince others and more time strengthening their own faith. They speak their dreams softly, not because they're unsure, but because they know that the vision speaks loudest through results. The world may not see what you see now, but that's fine. It's not supposed to. Your task is not to explain, but to build. Every brick you lay, every skill you develop, every step you take in alignment with your dream is proof that you've seen something worth pursuing. And while others call you unrealistic, you are quietly becoming the person who will prove them wrong. Walking alone requires a kind of strength that few people ever develop. The world has trained us to move in groups, to seek approval, to measure our steps by how others respond. But every person who has ever done something remarkable had to first accept isolation. When you choose to chase a dream that doesn't fit the mold, you naturally distance yourself from the crowd. Not because you're better than them, but because your direction is different. The crowd values comfort, you value growth. They seek validation, you seek purpose. And in that pursuit, you often find yourself walking a quiet, lonely road, guided only by a voice inside that says, keep going. The courage to walk alone isn't about arrogance or pride. It's about trust. Trusting that your inner compass knows something the world doesn't. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, fearing rejection, and avoiding judgment. They would rather fit in than stand out. But history remembers only those who dared to stand apart. When you begin walking toward your dream, the noise around you grows louder. People question your choices, your motives, even your sanity. They tell you to be realistic, to settle for something safer, something familiar. But if you listen too long, you'll begin to shrink your vision to match their expectations. The courage to walk alone means refusing to let the world's limitations become your own. There's a strange comfort in conformity. When you move with the crowd, you don't have to think. You don't have to risk. You don't have to face the discomfort of standing out. But when you decide to take a different path, you become aware of the silence that follows. The calls stop, the invitations fade, and the familiar faces seem distant. Yet this solitude is not punishment. It's preparation. It's in those quiet hours that clarity begins to form. You start hearing your own thoughts without the interference of others. You learn who you are when no one is watching. And that discovery is the foundation of all greatness. The person who can stand alone without collapsing under the weight of loneliness gains a kind of inner power that can't be shaken. Because once you stop depending on the crowd, you become free from its control. You begin to live according to your own standards, not those imposed by others. That's when true creativity is born. Every great invention, every breakthrough idea came from someone who spent time in silence, away from the noise, building something the world wasn't ready for. They weren't waiting for the world's permission to begin. They gave themselves permission. When you walk alone, you also learn endurance. You discover that progress isn't measured by applause or recognition. It's measured by the quiet persistence of showing up day after day, even when no one notices. That kind of consistency builds character. It sharpens your focus and strengthens your belief. The people who once doubted you may never understand your journey, but that doesn't matter. The act of continuing in solitude, despite doubt and misunderstanding, transforms you into someone unstoppable. Most people will never experience this because they give up the moment they feel unseen. They confuse loneliness with failure, silence with insignificance. But those moments are sacred. They are the refining fire that shapes your conviction. When you learn to be comfortable in your own company, to work while others watch, to believe while others doubt, you gain an inner peace that can't be shaken by external opinions. The path of success is narrow, not because it's exclusive, but because few have the courage to take it. To walk alone is to declare that your vision matters more than approval, that your faith is stronger than fear, and that your destiny is worth the distance. Belief is not something that comes easily when the evidence around you contradicts it. It's easy to believe when everything is working in your favor, but the true test of belief begins when the odds are stacked against you. The price of belief is high, because it demands that you keep faith alive when the world insists that you're wasting your time. It requires patience when progress feels invisible and endurance when results seem far away. Most people quit not because their dream was impossible, but because they underestimated the cost of belief. They wanted results before effort, comfort before commitment, proof before persistence. But belief doesn't work that way. It's a contract you sign with yourself, written in patience, perseverance, and self-discipline. The moment you decide to believe in something bigger than your current reality, you begin to challenge everything you've been taught about what's possible. You'll feel the tension between what you know and what you imagine, between where you are and where you want to be. That tension is the birthplace of transformation. The mind will try to protect you, whispering reasons to quit, offering logic to justify giving up. But belief is not logical. It's emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. It's the inner force that says go on when reason says stop. It's the quiet confidence that even if it hasn't happened yet, it will, because you've decided it must. The price of belief is paid in solitude, in late nights, in early mornings, in effort that no one applauds. It's paid in sacrifices others don't understand. The parties you miss, the comforts you forego, the distractions you avoid. Belief demands focus, and focus demands elimination. To truly believe in a dream means removing everything that weakens it. You can't serve two masters. Belief and doubt cannot coexist. The more you feed one, the weaker the other becomes. The people who achieve greatness are not always the most talented or gifted, but they are the ones who have trained themselves to believe with such intensity that it becomes impossible to quit. Belief also asks for consistency. It's not enough to believe on good days when motivation runs high. You must believe on the days when everything goes wrong. Those are the days that define your destiny. Every failure, every rejection, every setback is a test, asking one question: do you still believe? And if the answer is yes, even when nothing seems to work, you grow stronger. That's how belief turns from an idea into a force. It becomes your foundation, your fuel, your compass. Belief shapes behavior. A person who truly believes acts differently. They move with intention. They carry themselves as if their goal were already accomplished. Their speech changes, their energy changes, their entire outlook transforms. They don't speak of if, they speak of when. And that subtle shift changes everything, because the mind follows the direction of its dominant thought. The world begins to align itself with your belief, but only after you've proven that you won't abandon it. Many people mistake belief for wishful thinking, but real belief is proven by action. You can't say you believe in success while behaving like a failure. Belief is shown in your habits, your discipline, your persistence. It's in the way you keep showing up long after the excitement has faded. That's the price. Showing up again and again, even when it feels pointless, even when progress is invisible. Every small act of faith is a deposit in the bank of your dream, and eventually those deposits compound into results that others call miraculous. The ones who pay the full price of belief are the ones who eventually see their vision become real. The ones who stop halfway never realize how close they were to breakthrough. Belief is expensive because it demands everything you have: your time, your energy, your patience, and your trust. But the person who refuses to give up, who keeps believing no matter what, discovers that the price of belief was never a cost at all, but an investment in becoming the person capable of achieving what once seemed impossible. Consistency is the quiet force that builds everything lasting. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't draw attention, and it rarely feels exciting. But it's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Motivation fades, inspiration comes and goes, but consistency endures. It is the discipline of showing up when you don't feel like it, of doing what needs to be done without needing to feel ready. Most people wait for the perfect time, the right conditions, the ideal mood. Those who understand the power of consistency don't wait, they act. They know that success isn't built in a single moment of brilliance, but in the accumulation of small, steady efforts made over time. Every successful person has one thing in common: they learn to keep going long after the excitement wore off. The world celebrates results, not routines, but routines are what create results. The late nights, the early mornings, the repetition of seemingly insignificant tasks, that's where greatness hides. You can't plant a seed and demand fruit overnight. Growth takes time, and the soil must be nurtured daily. The same principle applies to success. Consistency is the water that feeds your vision, the steady heartbeat that keeps your dream alive even when progress is invisible. The reason so few people reach their full potential is because they underestimate how boring success can be. The path to mastery is repetitive. You'll do the same thing hundreds, even thousands of times before it pays off. There are no shortcuts, no secret formulas. The world loves stories of sudden success, but the truth is always slower, quieter, and harder. Consistency is what transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It turns effort into expertise, habits into strength, and persistence into power. There will be days when you feel like nothing is working. You'll question whether your actions are making any difference. That's where most people give up, because they can't see the compound effect of their effort. They forget that progress is rarely visible in the moment. The gym doesn't show results on day one, but a year of showing up changes your body entirely. The business doesn't boom overnight, but 1,000 small, consistent improvements make it inevitable. Life rewards the consistent in ways it never rewards the sporadic. Every small repeated act is a vote for the person you're becoming, and eventually those votes add up. Consistency also builds confidence. Each day you keep your promise to yourself, you strengthen your self-respect. You begin to trust your own word, to see yourself as reliable. That trust becomes momentum, and that momentum carries you through moments of doubt. It's not talent or intelligence that keeps people moving. It's the faith built through daily effort. Confidence is not something you wait to feel before you act. It's something you earn by taking action again and again. The challenge is that consistency often feels unrewarded. There are no immediate congratulations for the person who keeps showing up quietly. But time has a way of revealing the truth. Those who stay consistent outlast those who start strong and fade. The difference between mediocrity and excellence is rarely a matter of skill. It's a matter of persistence. When you practice daily discipline, you begin to separate yourself from the masses. While others are distracted, you are developing. While they are complaining, you are improving. The power of consistency lies in its compounding nature. What begins as small effort becomes unstoppable momentum. Each day builds on the last, and before you realize it, you've created something substantial. The world calls it luck, but you'll know it was patience. You'll know it was the result of every early morning, every late night, every decision to keep going when quitting seemed easier. Consistency is the invisible architect of success, the force that turns invisible dreams into visible achievements. And those who master it eventually prove that slow, steady effort conquers everything. Doubt is a shadow that follows everyone who dares to dream beyond what is common. It creeps in quietly, whispering questions about your worth, your timing, your ability. It shows up not only in your mind, but in the voices of others who project their own fears onto you. They call you unrealistic, foolish, or naïve. But doubt, if you learn to use it, can become the very thing that strengthens your resolve. The key is not to eliminate doubt, but to transform it into fuel. Every time someone tells you it can't be done, you're being handed energy that can either weaken you or drive you. The choice is yours. When you begin to see doubt as a sign that you're on the right path, everything changes. Doubt only appears when you're stepping into new territory. It doesn't visit those who play it safe, who stay within the limits of what's already been done. It visits pioneers, creators, and dreamers who are building something from nothing. The presence of doubt means you're moving beyond comfort. It's proof that you're growing, that you're doing something that matters. Most people retreat when they feel it. The few who succeed are the ones who face it, embrace it, and keep moving forward anyway. The words of doubters can sting, especially when they come from people you love or respect. But remember that people can only speak from their own level of understanding. They're not trying to destroy your dream. They just can't see what you see. Their disbelief is not your problem to solve. Let their doubt remind you of why you started. Let it harden your determination. There's a kind of satisfaction that comes from turning mockery into motivation, from using every criticism as a reminder that you're chasing something beyond the average. When you stop letting doubt discourage you, it begins to serve you. The most powerful individuals are those who have learned to convert emotional pain into productive energy. Every rejection, every failure, every insult becomes raw material for growth. Instead of asking, why me? They ask, what can I learn from this? The sting of being doubted can either break you or build you. It can make you bitter or make you better. If you channel it properly, it becomes a fire that fuels your persistence. The greater the resistance you face, the stronger your belief must become. Doubt can be an enemy or an ally, depending on how you treat it. When people say you can't do something, they are revealing their limits, not yours. They are showing you where their imagination ends. And instead of arguing with them, you can quietly keep working. There's no greater response to doubt than results. The day will come when the same voices that dismissed you will speak your name with admiration. But that transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens through years of silent effort. When you turn every doubt into a reason to push harder, every insult into a reminder of why you refuse to quit. Learning to use doubt as fuel also means learning to master your emotions. Doubt can easily turn into fear, and fear into paralysis, unless you redirect that energy. Every great achiever felt fear and uncertainty, but they acted anyway. They understood that courage isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision to move forward despite it. When you act in the face of doubt, you weaken its hold. With every step you take, the voice of fear grows quieter and your confidence grows stronger. In time, you begin to appreciate doubt for what it truly is, a signal that you're doing something worthwhile. The same people who once questioned you will one day tell stories about how they knew you would make it. They'll rewrite the past to fit the outcome, but you'll remember the truth, that it was their disbelief that gave you the strength to prove them wrong, that every word of doubt was fuel for the fire that burned inside you, and that without it, you might never have discovered how powerful your belief could become. Doubt is a shadow that follows everyone who dares to dream beyond what is common. It creeps in quietly, whispering questions about your worth, your timing, your ability. It shows up not only in your mind, but in the voices of others who project their own fears onto you. They call you unrealistic, foolish, or not worthy. But doubt, if you learn to use it, can become the very thing that strengthens your resolve. The key is not to eliminate doubt, but to transform it into fuel. Every time someone tells you it can't be done, you're being handed energy. Energy that can either weaken you or drive you. The choice is yours. When you begin to see doubt as a sign that you're on the right path, everything changes. Doubt only appears when you're stepping into new territory. It doesn't visit those who play it safe, who stay within the limits of what's already been done. It visits pioneers, creators, and dreamers who are building something from nothing. The presence of doubt means you're moving beyond comfort. It's proof that you're growing, that you're doing something that matters. Most people retreat when they feel it. The few who succeed are the ones who face it, embrace it, and keep moving forward anyway. The words of doubters can sting, especially when they come from people you love or respect. But remember that people can only speak from their own level of understanding. They're not trying to destroy your dream. They just can't see what you see. Their disbelief is not your problem to solve. Let their doubt remind you of why you started. Let it harden your determination. There's a kind of satisfaction that comes from turning mockery into motivation, from using every criticism as a reminder that you're chasing something beyond the average. When you stop letting doubt discourage you, it begins to serve you. The most powerful individuals are those who have learned to convert emotional pain into productive energy. Every rejection, every failure, every insult becomes raw material for growth. Instead of asking, "Why me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this?" The sting of being doubted can either break you or build you. It can make you bitter or make you better. If you channel it properly, it becomes a fire that fuels your persistence. The greater the resistance you face, the stronger your belief must become. Doubt can be an enemy or an ally, depending on how you treat it. When people say you can't do something, they are revealing their limits, not yours. They are showing you where their imagination ends. And instead of arguing with them, you can quietly keep working. There's no greater response to doubt than results. The day will come when the same voices that dismissed you will speak your name with admiration. But that transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens through years of silent effort, when you turn every doubt into a reason to push harder, every insult into a reminder of why you refuse to quit. Learning to use doubt as fuel also means learning to master your emotions. Doubt can easily turn into fear and fear into paralysis unless you redirect that energy. Every great achiever felt fear and uncertainty, but they acted anyway. They understood that courage isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision to move forward despite it. When you act in the face of doubt, you weaken its hold. With every step you take, the voice of fear grows quieter and your confidence grows stronger. In time, you begin to appreciate doubt for what it truly is, a signal that you're doing something worthwhile. The same people who once questioned you will one day tell stories about how they knew you would make it. They'll rewrite the past to fit the outcome. But you'll remember the truth, that it was their disbelief that gave you the strength to prove them wrong, that every word of doubt was fuel for the fire that burned inside you, and that without it, you might never have discovered how powerful your belief could become. Success has a strange way of rewriting history. The same actions that once seemed foolish are later celebrated as genius. The same decisions that drew laughter eventually earn applause. What people call crazy today, they will one day call visionary, but only after it works. That's the paradox of achievement. It doesn't make sense until it's complete. The world sees results, not effort. It respects proof, not faith. And that's why you must never expect validation in the beginning. The early stages of any great pursuit are filled with confusion, uncertainty, and ridicule because most people cannot see the end from the beginning. They judge what they don't understand and mock what they secretly fear to attempt themselves. When you begin to succeed, the story changes. Those who once questioned your choices start to reinterpret the past to make themselves look wise. They'll say they always believed in you, that they knew you would make it. But you'll remember how they reacted when you were struggling, when you had nothing to show, when your vision existed only in your mind. Success doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes how people see you. What was once impossible now seems obvious, as if the outcome was always guaranteed. People call it luck or timing, because it's easier than admitting they doubted you. They'll try to make sense of your success by rationalizing it, but deep down they'll know that you simply had the courage to believe when they didn't. Success also has a way of silencing critics. Those who once told you to be realistic begin asking for your advice. Those who laughed at your ideas start studying your methods. The mockery that once surrounded you turns into admiration, not because you changed, but because you proved that your vision was real. The same world that ignored you will now seek your approval. The same people who doubted you will now chase your attention. But by the time it happens, you'll no longer crave their validation, because the journey itself will have taught you something more valuable. That belief is stronger than opinion. That persistence is louder than doubt. And that success is the only language everyone understands. When success finally arrives, it reveals how little others' opinions ever mattered. The laughter, the skepticism, the criticism, all of it fades the moment results appear. Success makes people forget how hard the road was, how many times you failed, how long you kept going in silence. They only see the end result, not the countless invisible struggles that built it. But that's the beauty of it. You'll know what it took. You'll remember every rejection, every sleepless night, every quiet moment when you doubted yourself but still kept pushing. That memory becomes your real reward. The money, the recognition, the applause, those are just reflections of the deeper victory that happened inside you. The reason most people never experience this transformation is because they give up too early. They want belief without resistance, growth without pain, success without sacrifice. But success demands endurance. It asks that you hold your vision long enough for it to manifest. It requires that you stay true to yourself while the world calls you foolish. The world's opinion is temporary. Your conviction must be permanent. When you refuse to break under doubt, when you keep working after everyone else stops, success becomes inevitable. Once you reach that place, the world suddenly sees what you saw all along. The impossible becomes obvious. People begin to quote your words, study your habits, and analyze your story, trying to find the secret they once dismissed. But there was never a secret, only persistence, only belief, only the decision to keep going long enough to prove that the dream was real. Success changes nothing about who you truly are. It only reveals what you've always been. And when the world finally calls you a genius, you'll smile, because you'll know that all along you were simply the one who refused to stop when they called you crazy.